Now at noon, heavy hearts and a difficult goodbye as we come on the air. Here's a live look outside of North Star Church. This is in Kennesaw, and as you can see, it looks like they're getting ready to get a little closer to this funeral that is supposed to be underway in just a few minutes for Deputy Jonathan Koleski. Now, he's one of the 2 Cobb County deputies that was senselessly killed last week while simply doing his job trying to serve a warrant. The family choosing to stream the funeral service via YouTube. And man, oh man, you can see that there, wall to wall. This church is packed. And our reporters are outside of the sanctuary to respect the family. But yes, a lot of people are there to support those loved ones who are left behind.
You can see already the what appears to be a flag-draped coffin there at the front. And there is the senior pastor of the church getting ready to speak.
My name is Mike, and it's an honor to get to stand among so many amazing people today, to honor an amazing young man's life. And today we gather together in very different uniforms, but with one heart. And we gather here to honor John's life and to honor the Lord. So would y'all join me in a word of prayer? Father, today we lean on you. Father, you said you're the great shepherd.
So there again is the senior pastor of the church where the funeral is getting underway now for Officer Jonathan Koleski, one of the 2 Cobb County deputies who was shot and killed while serving a warrant 1 week ago, Thursday, 1 week ago tomorrow. And you heard the pastor say that although we're in many different uniforms, we're here to honor this one life. And that's the truth. The brothers and sisters in blue from all across the area joining the family and friends of the deputy for a final farewell. Koleski also was an Army combat veteran, and he leaves behind a wife and the countless lives that he undoubtedly touched. And you know, when an officer loses his life, as you can see from that packed church there, the entire community really feels the pain.
And I bet those loved ones are, probably really feeling the love and that support, seeing so many people there in the church. Right now, community members are coming out, really showing their support, sending love to those because this is just a tragic loss.
Yeah, they were Deputy Koleski and the other deputy, Marshal Ervin Jr. There you see him on your screen as well. They were both trying to serve a warrant, an arrest warrant, at a home near Marietta last week. Investigators say they were trying to arrest a man when that man's roommate, who were there, they were not there to arrest him, reportedly opened fire, killing both of those deputies. Deputy Marshal Ervin's funeral is tomorrow.
So we do want to give you a look at the procession that took place this morning outside North Star Church for Deputy Koleski. Just take a look at the sea of flashing lights honoring the fallen deputy. Law enforcement lining up outside the entrance of the church as his casket was carried inside the church for the viewing, and now that funeral service that just got underway.
CBS 46's Rebecca Schramm has been really on this story since the very beginning. She begins our live team coverage in front of the church in Blue Springs, on Blue Springs Road in Kennesaw, and that church, Rebecca, is just wall-to-wall people.
Yeah, and now, Gervier and Brooks, I want to kind of set the scene for you outside the church. They have Blue Springs Road still blocked off. Only law enforcement officers are coming through right now, and that is because they've got the procession, the motorcycle brigade, ready to go for when the funeral ends. And I was talking with a Marietta police officer who's helping with traffic control, and he says 3 hours before the funeral even started, they were scrambling to find overflow parking. That shows the sense of mourning this community is feeling as this first of 2 funerals for these fallen deputies gets underway.
Just crying, just so much emotions. It's hard to explain. I didn't think I'd cry. And then I walked outside and tears started coming.
People who work near North Star Church came out of their offices as the casket carrying the slain deputy's body arrived for the viewing.
They wake up every day not knowing if they're coming home. I mean, these two officers just were doing their job, and they didn't come home that night.
Cobb County Sheriff's deputies Marshal Ervin Jr. and Jonathan Koleski were shot and killed Thursday night while trying to serve an arrest warrant at a home between Marietta and Powder Springs. The deputies were there to take into custody a man named Christopher Cook. That's when Christopher Golden, who also lives in the home, opened fire. Arriving at Koleski's funeral in Kennesaw, law enforcement officers from agencies across the region to honor his service. Koleski, who was married, was a combat Army veteran. He worked for the Cobb County Sheriff's Office for 15 years.
You know, we don't know these guys, but I have friends and family that are military and police and sheriff. So I think that's part of it, is that we just for a few minutes get to come out and show our respect and let the family know that we're thinking about them and that we care. Even though I don't know that there's much we can do, we can at least pray for them.
Again, the funeral for Deputy Koleski getting underway right now. The funeral for Deputy Ervin will be tomorrow. Live in Kennesaw, Rebecca Schramm, CBS 46 News.
Yeah, definitely an incredible sight to see so many supporters out there. Rebecca, thank you. And CBS 46's Zach Summers is about 5 miles away from Rebecca, and he continues our team coverage.
And Zach, you're in a pretty good spot for people who want to see that processional go by. So many people wanting to pay their respects.
Yeah, absolutely. We're at Miller's Ale House. It's on Chastain Road. As you said, it's about 4 or 5 miles from the church where that funeral is underway. This is where law enforcement has asked those who would like to pay their respects to the fallen deputy to gather this evening. Now, from here, the procession will go on to I-575 North, get off at exit 16 in Canton, headed west for the cemetery where Deputy Koleski will be laid to rest with military honors. That's the Georgia National Cemetery. Of course, he not only served our country in Iraq and Afghanistan following the September 11th attacks, he also served in the Georgia National Guard. Deputy Koleski. More than 1,000 vehicles are anticipated to be a part of this procession, so you can imagine there will be a ton of backup traffic here in Kennesaw all the way up through Canton. And as we come back out here live, we've started to see some folks gather at this location. Again, law enforcement asking those who would like to pay their respects to join here at Miller's Ale House to do so. We've seen a few folks in Back the Blue shirts. You see the Back the Blue flag there off in the distance. So again, we're at Miller's Ale House. That procession not expected to take off for about another hour and a half from North Star Church. For now, though, live in Kennesaw, Zach Summers, CBS 46 News.
All right, Zach, thanks so much. Undoubtedly, it's going to be another tough day tomorrow for loved ones and law enforcement, too. Deputy Marshal Ervin Jr. will be laid to rest. He, of course, killed during that same incident while serving that warrant. His funeral begins at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. It's at the Westridge Church in Dallas, Georgia. A procession for Ervin begins at 4 in the afternoon. And you can line the streets to pay tribute to him at the intersection of Dallas Highway and Poplar Springs near Lost Mountain Baptist Church. All of that information available if you need that information, again, on our website as well as our app.